In this session, Suzanne explores the idea that people have been created by God to belong in community with others. We're not meant to live in isolation. We'll take a look at the following questions. What groups are we a part of and why? Why is it that sometimes, even in a group of Christians, we don't really experience growth and change? Well, let's jump into the teaching.
Back to our second week of our series, Can Somebody Tell Me? And the question that we're going to be looking at this week is, can somebody tell me where I belong? And this is such an important question for us to look at and think on, because each of us are all searching to do life with other people. We're all searching to do life within community. And it goes back to the beginning of time when God creates the world. It goes back to in our Bible in Genesis 2. God creates man. He creates the animals. He creates the sun, the moon, the trees, and the stars. And when he looks down at Adam, what he sees is that there is not a helper that is suitable for Adam. So we see in Genesis 2, God causes Adam to go to sleep, and he fashions woman out of him, and Eve is there. And from the beginning of time for mankind, this is when community was born. And so if we reflect back on this past year, what we will find is the community and the groups that we were a part of were suddenly and instantaneously stripped away from us. And that's not how we were meant to live life. We were not meant to live life alone. You know, one day I was going to work and I had my work community, and the next day I'm working from home. One day I'm taking Claire, my daughter, to school, and the next day I'm schooling her at home, and she is removed from the school community. We're going to dinners, that is lost. Those social groups that we were a part of, those are all suddenly stripped away from us. And while some of those things are returning, what I think we will find is that we're still living in this place of isolation. We're still living in this place of loneliness. You know, I read this quote this past week, and it said, "The biggest disease today is not leprosy or cancer. It's the feeling of being uncared for, unwanted, of being deserted and alone." And what I think we will find as we're looking back on this year is that we are sitting in this place of loneliness. We're sitting in this place of feeling a little bit deserted because a lot of our community groups are still taken away from us. But what I want to challenge you not to miss is this opportunity that lies ahead of us. This opportunity that, apart from moving to a brand new state, a brand new city, we're given this blank slate to look at the groups that we belong to. We're given this blank slate to evaluate, why do I belong to these groups? Because some of the things that we belong to, I think we just kind of fell into and never really stopped to think about and to evaluate, why is it that I'm a part of this group? Other things we have purpose to be a part of. And in sitting here in small group, we show that we value and that we purpose being a part of a group like this. Because what we find is our groups in the church body, when apart from other groups, they are Christ-centered. And when Christ is the center of your relationship, then you're brought to this equal playing field of relationship. Galatians 3 tells us this. In Galatians 3:26 through 28, it says, "For you are all sons of God through faith in Christ Jesus. For you all were baptized into Christ, have clothed yourself with Christ. For there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free man, there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." And I love when we think about our relationships in terms of Christ, because what we focus on is that whatever we bring to the table, it doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. Status doesn't matter. Even my own giftings and abilities don't matter. Because ultimately what matters is our relationship with Christ. And so apart from church, apart from our relationships with Christ, what I find are groups that I belong to, or what I term transactional, meaning I'm looking to get something out of that group. And when that group comes to an end, my relationships end. But when it comes to church, when it comes to small group, when it comes to groups that are Christ-centered, what we have this opportunity to be a part of is groups that are transformational, groups that are going to cause and spur us on to have life change. Because we're all walking into this process. We're all walking into the group not as the person that we're supposed to be. We're a part of the sanctification process, and hopefully by being a part of your small group, It's going to push you to be more like Christ in the end. And our relationships that are focused on Christ are focused because of this family that we're a part of. A family that is not because of blood, but because of what Christ did for us on the cross and the things that Christianity have to offer us, the hope of a future, the hope of salvation. And what I want to encourage you to do, and what I want to encourage you to think on, is in terms of your small group, to move to a more transformational group. And what I mean by that is that transformation can't just happen on its own. You have to be willing to come in and be transparent. You have to be willing to come in and be vulnerable. And this is really difficult if you've been hurt by the church in the past. But what I want to challenge you to do, if that is where you are sitting, to take a leap of faith. Because what I think that you will find in this group, whether you've been hurt by the church in the past or not, is healing. We are all walking in life carrying these burdens, carrying this weight, past hurt, present hurt, things that we're walking through. And when you're willing to be transparent, when you're willing to be vulnerable, what you're allowing your small group to do is to come alongside you, to emotionally support you, to physically support you, to allow you to live out Galatians 6:2, which says to bear each other's burdens. And through that, growth will happen. You know, we all come in with this kind of nearsighted focus of who I think that I am. And I'm not able to see my flaws. I'm not able to see all the places that I fail. But when you're transparent, when you're vulnerable with those around you, they're able to look and reflect and point you to be more like Christ. They're able to see a full picture of who you are and hopefully who you can be in that sanctification process. And through that, accountability happens. You're able to be accountable with one another, to hold each other with these hopes and these dreams of, I want to be this through Christ. And so help me, come alongside me, walk with me to push me to be more reflective of who Christ is. Everything comes with cost, right? So to be transparent, to be vulnerable in your group, it comes with a cost because there's this risk of being hurt. But the reward of that is what I would encourage you is far greater than the cost. The reward of transformational relationship, of growth, of in the end, I think what we will find is that we were pushed to be more like Christ and who the person Christ desires for us to be. So my challenge for you in your small group this week is to really think about the groups that you belong to and why you belong to them. And then to be willing to take the leap of faith within your small group to belong more. And what I mean by that is to be more willing to be more transparent, to be willing to be more vulnerable. Because what I think you will find is the growth that happens in your life and in your group's life when you are Christ-centered is that you won't be disappointed. So I challenge you to be willing to be vulnerable and to be transparent this week in your group.